I had the privilege of keeping company with this stately but very simple man. He once told me, "The uniqueness of our Bhagavan is that he accepts everyone as they are. Other gurus expect one to reform, or they reform you, and only then do they accept you." He told me about an incident when he sang a song by a poet devotee of Lord Marunga one day. The song narrates how Lord Marunga finally reformed the singer and saved him. Mudaliar replaced Lord Marunga's name with Bhagavan's and began chanting it. The senior devotee Marunganar, who was present, immediately chided him, saying, "You think highly of this poem, but I do not agree with you. It does not represent the real acceptance of our Bhagavan or his munificence. Bhagavan never waits. He instantly accepts whoever comes into his presence. There is no need, no gap, and no form of expectation." From 1922, he started visiting Bhagavan more often and mentally offered prayers for relief from all the problems he was experiencing. He explained, "You have every right to pray to your God or Guru, but without any condition attached. It may be fulfilled, it may not be fulfilled. Your mind should not agitate either happily when it is fulfilled or unhappily when it is not fulfilled." Bhagavan once told him, "Your duty is to surrender and then just be. Whether I fulfill it or not is not your concern." Those days in India, it was difficult to get a daughter married, but Mudaliar prayed and his daughter's marriage was performed without any obstacles. In 1930, his wife, whom he dearly loved, fell seriously ill. He rushed to Bhagavan and prayed for her recovery repeatedly. 3 years later, she passed away in 1933, giving him a great shock. But he never got angry or disappointed with Bhagavan. He said, "That was also Bhagavan's blessing to me, Ganesan, because after that shock, my mind and my attention turned completely to the spiritual quest. I saw powerfully the futility of worldly attachments and relationships." After his wife's passing, he came to Ramanasramam and sat before the Master. The sorrow at the loss of his wife, which was oppressing him deeply, disappeared. He attributed this cure entirely to the gracious presence of Bhagavan. At lunchtime, he was invited as usual, but demurred, saying that he had an allergy. His cousin, Dr. Guru Swami Mudaliar, a respected doctor in Chennai, had told him that there was no medicine for his allergy. Prevention was only possible by avoiding rice altogether. But on that day, Bhagavan asked, "Where is Devaraja Mudaliar?" Someone told Mudaliar that Bhagavan had called for him, and he went to Bhagavan, and the Master instructed him with a powerful look, and then said, "Sit here." Mudaliar quietly obeyed. Rice is served in abundance in Ramanasramam, and as it was being served to him, he hesitated and looked at Bhagavan. The Guru suggested eating, and immediately Mudaliar began to eat, finishing all the rice. He later told me, "I obeyed my Master's command. The so-called incurable allergy was instantly gone." No one at the ashram knew who Mudaliar was because many different people came there every day. Bhagavan asked the residents, "Do you recognize who he is?" All of them shook their heads, and Bhagavan said, "Oh, you do not recognize Devaraja Mudaliar? He has often come to visit us. How different he looked in those days. He used to wear a European suit then, but now see how simple he looks." Devaraja Mudaliar tearfully narrated this to me, saying, "Look at the Guru's attention on me. He accepts you as you are, whether you are in European suit or in ordinary clothes, whether you are a believer in God or pursuing a particular spiritual practice. All these are immaterial to him. The devotee is much more important to the Guru than what the devotee believes or does." From 1933, Mudaliar started going to Bhagavan even more frequently. This is very important. As Mudaliar said in his own words, "It is very important for spiritual strengthening to continue to have contact with the truth, whether it is a person, a teaching, an institution, a temple, or a church. This continuum, without a gap, is imperative." The wonder and beauty of the Guru's love is that he wins the devotee over step by step, not through instructions, but just by going along with the devotee. In 1936, the ashram management was in an embarrassing predicament. A lawsuit was filed in the local magistrate court against Bhagavan and Chinnaswamy and most of the ashram residents. Chinnaswamy rushed to Sundaram Chetayar, a retired high court judge who was also Bhagavan's devotee, and sought his guidance. Out of all the reputed lawyers in Tiruvannamalai and other areas, the judge suggested the name Devaraja Mudaliar, who was then in Chittoor, 100 miles away. When Devaraja Mudaliar narrated this to me, once again there were tears in his eyes. He said, "Look at the Master's grace." According to the Indian Penal Code, when one is summoned by the court, one is required to appear before it. It seemed that there was no other way out. But Devaraja Mudaliar managed to get the case dismissed in the initial stages, and so no one needed to go to court. The complainant took his appeal to a higher court, but there too Mudaliar managed to get the case dismissed. There was a higher purpose behind Bhagavan choosing Mudaliar for this. He was to become one of the boulders to disseminate Arunachala's teachings of I am throughout the world. Therefore, it was not enough that the Guru accepted him. The management, including Chinnaswamy, had to accept him too. This incident helped Mudaliar win over his critics.